Welcome to the challenge of nature. In today's video, we take you inside the most intense and breathtaking moments from the most devastating natural disasters. Every second is an unimaginable ordeal, as Mother Nature shows her fury and cruelty. Get ready to witness some terrifying and emotional footage, and be sure to subscribe to the challenge of nature so you never miss a video. Look at this tornado. The strong and destructive winds are sweeping away everything in sight. Dust and debris are sucked up like debris in a raging storm. It was unbelievable to witness this giant tornado. It was like a hurricane, blowing everything in its path, turning every piece of furniture into flying debris. I couldn't believe my eyes as a massive flood swept hundreds of gallons of black water up the banks along the Ohio River in Cincinnati. This is truly a unique sight. Hailstones, as big as marbles, are falling like waterfalls, combined with strong winds creating a dense layer of rocks on the road surface. Downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota, and witnessed an unbelievable storm. The winds were so strong, and the rain was so heavy that cars were stuck in the middle of the road. In the St. Louis, Missouri area, I was horrified to see a house on the river that was about to be swept away. The river was flowing strongly. Guess what will happen? In Miami, the storms were so strong that they seemed to tear the space apart, swaying each tree, threatening to collapse at any moment. The amount of rain poured down like millions of tons of water, turning this place into a sea of water. The sea was so rough that it seemed as if it wanted to sink the boat. On the streets of Tampa, winds gusting up to 140 kilometers per hour shook streetlights, and heavy rains created raging torrents of water that swept away everything in their path. In the suburbs of Hamburg, the ferocious flood swept millions of cubic meters of water over the dike like a giant monster. Small cars stood helpless before the terrifying force, the flow speed constantly increasing. Hail fell in torrents, with huge stones hitting the ground and roofs. Global climate change is melting the ice. a storm with large hail in Indonesia. In the suburbs of Moscow, a storm suddenly appeared, bringing heavy hailstones that fell with terrifying force. Each stone hit the car windows hard, combined with wind gusts of over 110 kilometers per hour, causing the windshield to crack and everything inside the car to become chaotic. In Tokyo, a powerful typhoon accompanied by heavy rain and hail swept through the streets with winds of up to 140 kilometers per hour. Large hail continuously hit the streets, along with the huge volume of rain causing severe flooding. A scary whirlwind at sea looks interesting. These waves seem to want to swallow that house. In Dallas, Texas, hailstones as heavy as baseballs fell at breakneck speeds, shattering car windshields and windows in homes. Wind gusts reaching 70 miles per hour made the hailstones feel like bullets. In Portland, Oregon, heavy rain and strong winds of up to 110 kilometers per hour caused a series of large trees to fall onto the streets. In Oklahoma City, a massive tornado with winds of up to 200 kilometers per hour picked up tons of rock and debris, creating a giant storm column that rose high into the dark sky. The sand and debris were sucked up, turning the entire area into a dark nightmare where everything was swallowed up in the brutal vortex. The flood water flows down from the hill. What a beautiful sight. In Chicago, Illinois, heavy rain and strong winds created chaos on the streets. Cars were stranded in rising water, unable to move as torrential rain and strong winds hampered efforts to escape the flooded conditions. In Joplin, Missouri, a violent tornado with winds reaching to 100 kilometers per hour turned the sky into a giant swirling storm. In Denver, Colorado, a massive hailstorm dumped giant boulders of ice, causing extensive damage to dozens of cars. The hail not only shattered car windows, but also shattered windows in surrounding homes. The powerful tornado with wind speeds of up to 180 kilometers per hour swept up tons of earth, rocks and debris, reaching into the pitch-black sky. The horrific sight of debris flying through the air like a dark storm, filling the area with a gloomy curtain, threatening everything in its path. A strong storm knocked down many trees in India. The sound of the storms is terrifying. It is taking everything away. In Chongqing, China, a massive flash flood swept away millions of tons of rock and debris, creating a giant wave on the Yangtze River. The massive volume of water overwhelmed everything in its path. Consequences of major storms. These scenes show how harsh nature can be. Severe flooding in China. Hundreds of cubic meters of water poured down from the hill, possibly causing severe landslides in this area. These raging waves seem to be searching for something. Stones fell like bullets, continuously shattering windows and damaging vehicles, turning the streets into an unimaginable scene of chaos and storm. What happened to that plane? Terrible waves constantly attacking the ship. Welcome to the challenge of nature. Join me as we explore the horrors of nature through raw and emotional footage. Let's get started. Looking at these people is funny in the strong wind. Strong storm in Indonesia. Oh my God, look at that tree. What's up with those birds? An ice avalanche occurred at the Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentina. Huge chunks of ice broke off from the glacier and fell into the water below. I couldn't see the car and the road anymore because the rain was so heavy. Is this tornado sucking water from the sea to the sky? The dark clouds create lines that are both seductive and terrifying. Look at that table. What is that white thing? After a hailstorm hit Dallas, Texas, the streets looked like they had been through a battle. Wind speeds of hundreds of kilometers per hour can sweep away everything in its path, from cars to large sections of roofs. In just a few minutes, the storm reduced everything to rubble, leaving behind a scene of chaos and horror. What is going on? Oh my God, that's a giant sandstorm. I can't see anything anymore. What does this tornado look like? Garbage flying all over the sky. Huge hailstones fell at breakneck speed in Denver, Colorado. I couldn't see anything. The heavy rain blocked all vision. With such strong winds, will those trees still stand? Oh my God, giant waves under the sea. The roof couldn't take it anymore. The wind was too strong. Isn't this a cute little tornado? Oh my God, the sky is full of sand and trash. The space is so gloomy. It's dangerous to go out when it's raining heavily and the wind is strong like this. These waves are scary. These waves must have been tens of meters high. These cars will probably be badly damaged after this hailstorm, which occurred on August 20th. It looks like a string. This kind of rainfall is sure to cause severe flooding. The torrential rains continue to pour down, overwhelming the drainage system, and the rivers begin to overflow. The sight of rising water, submerging everything in its path, is more terrifying than ever. A snowstorm in the United States has left the entire region covered in thick snow. Strong winds howled through the deserted streets, carrying heavy snow drifts that blanketed everything. Houses, cars, and trees were buried under a blanket of white snow. Heavy hail in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California caused a scene of devastation. Let's go hunting giant tornadoes now. Have you ever seen a tornado like this in real life? Strong waves crashed into the shore, creating white foam and a loud roar, flooding the entire coastal road. It is slowly going down to the ground. This ship is fighting the raging seas off the coast of Oregon alone. Huge waves crash against the side of the ship, whipping up columns of water dozens of meters high, causing the ship to rock violently in the stormy sea. What scares them so much? Look at those roofs. Welcome to the challenge of nature. Join me in the world of terrifying natural phenomena caught on camera. Ready? Let's get started. Watching the steel bridge collapse in the flash flood, one can see the terrifying power of nature. The road was completely cut off, leaving a scene of devastation. The huge storm was wreaking havoc, tearing roofs off houses and causing tree branches to fall, creating a scene that was both desolate and terrifying. The scene was stunning as a huge storm swept through, with rain and wind causing severe damage to the trees. The landscape was covered in a thick blanket of rain. This man is trying to escape from his car before it is pushed off the cliff. Oh my God! The massive volume of water was washing away everything under the bridge, creating a terrifying scene. The fragile bridge seemed like a small factor compared to the power of the flood. Can you hear the sound of electricity? The seemingly invincible steel bridge was submerged by flash floods and completely collapsed, a clear demonstration of the terrible devastation of nature. What a terrifying sight! The storm had caused the tree branches to fall, creating a scene of devastation and chaos. It was shocking to see trees engulfed in flames just because of a short circuit in an electrical wire. Look at those trees. What is it? Oh shit! A power line fell onto the lawn and immediately caught fire, a horrifying sight. The fire could spread quickly. A violent flash flood swept rocks and soil down from the mountain, causing all the trees in the area to collapse. Oh my God, how many cars has this flood swept away? This is a clear example of how flooding can devastate residential areas. What do you think the wind speed of this storm is? There needs to be a thorough assessment of the causes and effects of these fires. Scenes of flash floods in India last July. Look at that house. The storm tossed the motorbike around like it was a toy. Heavy rainfall has reduced visibility to near impossible levels. These weather conditions are extremely dangerous and make travel extremely difficult. What does it look like? A fireworks party? Tornado appeared suddenly. The scene of the electric wire explosion was like something out of an action movie. The fierce fire, dazzling light, and loud explosion made the surrounding atmosphere tense. What if that bridge collapses? Aren't they afraid of dying? Do you see it burning right next to the gas station? These birds sense something. Aren't you curious? This lightning explosion really shocked me. The blinding light and loud noise made everything around become chaotic. Will the trees next to it burn? Oh my God, pray for this car. Maybe it's about to turn around. The flood water rose so high and strong that it could break such a solid concrete structure. This really shows the power of nature. What is he doing? What happened to that electric pole? The massive floods in Nepal completely destroyed this road. What can you see in this terrible rain? It's dangerous. Be careful with that power line. A giant concrete flood, right? Welcome back to the challenge of nature. Join me on a thrilling journey to witness nature's fury through terrifying moments. Let's get started. The sandstorm came like a wall of mist, carrying dust and sand that covered the sky and plunged everything into suffocating darkness. Unbelievable. That house was just swept away by the flood in the blink of an eye. The water was flowing rapidly, sweeping everything away as if nothing could stop it. A huge block of snow just collapsed onto the glacier. I have never seen anything so terrible. Look, the waves were so strong that they pushed the crabs onto the shore. They had to rush to escape the fierce waves. These giant waves are amazing. Watch them rise dozens of meters out to sea. The snowstorm on the ocean looks like a blizzard in the middle of the ocean. This sight is both strange and beautiful. What happened to this train station? The car was flipped over by the storm. It was terrifying to see. I didn't expect the wind to be that strong. Oh my God! People are having to stop everything to find safety. It's so tense. It was touching to see the rescuers on the helicopters struggling to save the people devastated by the flood. The rushing water below really made things tense and scary, but the bravery of the rescue team made everyone feel hopeful. The heavy rain made everything blurry, and as if swallowed by a sea of water, visibility was completely blocked. I just stood there feeling helpless, watching the white snow falling down endlessly. My heart felt like it was going to stop. The heavy rain combined with strong winds blew off the roofs of many houses below. Looking from above the apartment building, the whole scene looked like a brutal war between nature and the houses. Everything was obscured by the rain and wind. It really made me unable to take my eyes off. Oh my God, this sandstorm created a thick yellow curtain that could not be seen at all. It felt like the entire surrounding world had disappeared under this layer of misty sand. That girl is being swept away by flood. Please pray for her. Do you find this flood scary? This heavy rain is really terrible. The airport is completely at a standstill. The roof system is leaking and water has flooded the floors. The aerial shot of the bridge from above is truly majestic and terrifying. The raging floodwaters below make the bridge look like a natural storm surge. It feels like everything is being swallowed up by the ferocious force of the flood. Oh my God. What do you think the wind speed is? Floods in Lyon, France, are making everything underwater. Floors and beds are covered with flood water. It's really a nightmare. Watching the raging sea was terrifying. The waves crashed continuously. The white foam looked as if the ocean was angry. Do you see the crack in the road? It's great to see you again on the challenge of nature. Get ready to face nature's wrath on camera. Let's get started. Is this man testing his strength? This bridge was crushed by a flood of rocks and earth. This bridge is quite sturdy against the fierce flash floods of nature. If it were you, would you dare to cross this bridge at this time? Scary, more and more water. Have you ever witnessed storms like this in real life? Wind speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour along with heavy rainfall. Look at those trees. They are about to fall. Oh my God! The electric wires on the street were broken and on fire. No one dared to go near them. Imagine how strong the wind would have to be to blow this truck off the road. Look at that house. The landslide will destroy it. A mountainside road in Sichuan province, China has been completely destroyed by a devastating flash flood. The murky water is still flowing rapidly, carrying tons of mud and rocks, creating a scene of devastation. Oh my God, the flash flood submerged that road. On the banks of the Brahmaputra River in India, a house is slowly being swallowed by a powerful flood. The enormous force of the water carries everything away, debris floating along with the rushing water. Let's see how well these trees can withstand strong winds. They fell down. The wind force is 200 kilometers per hour. Why do people use water to put out electrical fires? This flood is eating away at that road. These scenes are scary. If there were people in the house right next to the electric pole, how would they feel? A big storm with strong winds. Look at that tree. A desolate scene. In the city of Pragpur, India, the bridge over the Beas River was completely submerged by floodwaters. The black, powerful waters swept everything away, leaving only a faint trace on the riverbed. The rain poured down, the wind howled through the streets, trees fell like dominoes. The power of this storm was unbelievable. That wooden bridge looked fragile in the face of the raging flood. In a suburb of Dallas, Texas, strong winds knocked down a power pole, snapped wires, and created a loud bang that ripped wires from a streetlight pole. Sparks flew out, quickly catching on the green foliage, creating a huge fire. The pouring rain seemed to want to swallow the whole city. The wind howled and knocked down the rows of trees. The scene was truly unbelievable. The flood came so quickly, engulfing the entire schoolyard. Everything was swept away in the blink of an eye, leaving behind a scene of devastation. In just a few hours, the flood rose and invaded the school, sweeping away everything in its path, leaving nothing intact. This storm was truly a test of nature. The wind was as strong as a hurricane. The rain was pouring down, and it knocked down trees all over the road. The air was suffocating as the storm hit. The wind howled everywhere. The trees that had stood firm for decades were now mercilessly knocked down. The pouring rain pulled out the power line, which fell onto the road and caught fire right in the middle of the row of cars. The fire flared up fiercely in the pouring rain. The broken electric wire fell on the lawn. The fire broke out terrifyingly right next to the swing chair. The dangerous scene seemed like a disaster waiting to happen. Unbelievable scene. Strong winds knocked down the ancient tree, its roots uprooted from the ground. The storm was howling. The big tree next to the house could not withstand it. Who would have thought? The tree branches just lightly touched the electric wire and caused a terrible short circuit. The fire burned everything in an instant. The fierce winds toppled everything in their path, uprooting roofs and breaking tree branches. Unbelievable. The sturdy steel bridge was swept away by the flash flood like a toy, collapsing under the terrible force of the water. The challenge of nature welcomes you back. Get ready for a journey into nature's most terrifying moments, captured in crystal clear detail. Let the exploration begin. The tornadoes picked up tons of dirt and debris, creating an unimaginable tornado scene. Hail poured down like a storm, each stone creating a sharp sound as it hit the river's surface, causing the water to ripple and the ice to spread. As the storm swept through the Chicago suburbs, with winds up to 120 miles per hour, water from the torrential rains rose. Where does this water flow from to this dry desert? The crazy storm with winds up to 250 kilometers per hour swept everything away. The terrible tornado twisted and overturned every house, leaving behind unbelievable devastation. These coconut trees seem to be waving goodbye to the storm. With the fierce wind of the storm, the car was pushed and overturned like a toy. On the coast, fierce tornadoes whipped up sand and waves, while lightning streaked across the dark sky. What is that man doing on top of the tree? Below is a raging flood. Looking at the dark clouds rolling across the sky, you can feel the suspense as they slowly form into a terrifying vortex, signaling the devastation that is approaching. When the flood came, water from the river rushed ashore like a giant wave. People panicked and ran away in despair. Lightning tore through the night sky like fiery swords, creating dazzling streaks of light in the darkness. Huge icebergs slowly melted and crashed into the glacier, creating terrifying crashes and roaring sounds. The sound of giant stones hitting the roof echoed like cold bullets. As the raging floodwaters swept into the residential area, millions of liters of water created devastating waves, sweeping away everything in their path. The sky darkened by a huge storm, heavy rain, howling winds, and hail like cold bullets, all blended into a thrilling picture of destruction, turning everything into a life and death battle between man and nature. Doesn't it look majestic? Have you seen how fierce nature is? In just a few short seconds, everything was different. Look at this beautiful snow road. Oh my God! How do you feel about this scene? Leave your feelings in the comments section to let me know. Heavy rains have hit China like a natural disaster, leaving streets and buildings submerged in a sea of chaos. Do you see that lightning? It's tearing across the night sky. Be careful, don't let yourself get into this dangerous situation. It will take everything away. The great ship faced the giant waves like great walls of water, making it sway and rock in the fury of the sea. The terrible avalanche from the Himalayas poured down like a white wave, covering everything in a thick blanket of snow, making the scene look like a brutal attack of nature. Do you hear any sound? Oh my God, look at those hailstones. No one dares to go out at this time. Looks like that house is about to collapse. Look. The cause could be flood. You see the river? Giant ice blocks. The road was covered with hail, with the cold stones piled up thickly, creating a desolate and thrilling scene, making everything difficult and dangerous. The Eiger Mountain in Switzerland is collapsing violently, with rocks and soil crashing down like a devastating wave. So scary, looks like it wants to swallow us. Isn't that driver afraid of tornadoes? Oh my God. What wind speed do you think this storm has? I feel scared when I see scenes like this. It reminds me of my past. Millions of liters of water are transported inland this way every day. Don't miss out on future updates. Hit subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments below. Stay safe and take care.